Good morning. There is this so-called myth that violent relationships happen only in marriages. So therefore, if a person is not yet married, then any act of violence or abuse done by the boyfriend or by the girlfriend, you cannot call it as an act of violence or abuse. My name is Ferna Koo, and this morning we will talk about dating violence in the campus. We will learn about the hard truth that even before the marriage, dating violence existed and exists this time. So, I would like to present to you our resource person, Mr. Anacleto Violango Jr. of the Gingoog City Colleges here in Gingoog City. Sir, good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to interview you. Every day in the school campus, you see student couples everywhere you look.
That's right.
And although students don't talk about it, and perhaps because they themselves don't even realize it, we know that dating violence already exists in the school community.
That's correct.
Could you tell us what exactly is dating violence, sir?
Okay. Well, I do not have an exact definition, but to my opinion, dating violence is any act that you do to control a person. Dating violence happens in romantic relationship between the matured individuals and young individuals. Now, since our focus is on the students, I would say dating violence is any act, physical act, or emotional act done by the students that will cause harm to control the other. The purpose of the person is to control the other person. But we must remember that they have to be in a relationship. They have to be a couple.
So, dating violence is limited to the physical and the emotional aspects.
No. There is also the economic abuse.
What does this mean, sir?
Okay. In the school, there are rich students and there are poor students. If my girlfriend is poor, then I can easily manipulate her with my money. How? I will threaten her. I will tell her that I will leave her. I will tell her that I will not give her any more allowance. I will use my money as a bait. A person in financial need will do anything and everything in order to support herself in schools.
So, you mentioned a while ago about physical violence. Could you please elaborate, sir?
Okay. It means you use physical act to hurt a partner. You hit her, you slap her, you kick her. Any act of force. Remember always that your purpose is to control your girlfriend. It does not matter if you hurt the girlfriend in public or in private. As long as you physically hurt her, that is already violence. It will be worse if you do that to your girlfriend in public. She will be embarrassed.
Yeah, that's right. So, you also mentioned a while ago about violence being an emotional act. So, can you please explain this, sir?
Okay. Just like what I mentioned a while ago, you hurt your girlfriend in public, you embarrass her. That's emotional violence. Aside from this emotion violence, can also be verbal violence. Here you use harsh and hurting words to your girlfriend. If your girlfriend is beautiful, you tell her that she is getting ugly.
Okay.
Yeah. If your girlfriend is not so pretty, you tell her that she is not so desirable anymore.
So, let's recap. There is physical violence, there is emotional violence, there is financial abuse, economic abuse. So, that's all. 3 forms of dating.
No. By the way, there is also the sexual violence. We know what that means already.
Okay.
Here you force your girlfriend to have sex with you against her will.
Okay.
sometimes one even combine all these forms in order to control the girlfriend. For example, you force your girlfriend to have a sex with you. That's sexual abuse. But she refuses. She says no, of course. So what you do is resort to the next form of abuse.
Which is?
Economic abuse is another. You threaten her. You tell her that you will stop giving her gifts and allowances. And if the girl still refuses, to, you hit her, you slap her, and then rape her. And that's sexual abuse.
Oh, okay.
Then the girl feels like that she's a garbage. She feels like a trash. And that's emotional abuse.
So it's like a combination of everything, all the forms of dating.
Oh, yes.
So, between a guy or a woman, who is the usual victim of dating violence?
Normally it is a girl.
Ay, why is that, sir?
I think it is because of the Filipino culture. Men are regarded as the superior gender. You know that.
Okay.
They have to be dominant character, and while the women to be a submissive character.
Dating violence, for example, if I were to compare, there are couples who are in their 20s, who are in their 30s. There are also high school students and college students who are dating. So, how different are they from each other?
Okay. The difference is this. For those men and women who are already in the 20s or 30s, they know what is violent and what is not violent. That is because they are already mature enough.
Okay.
When you slap her, for example, or you slap them, when you humiliate them in public, they will say, "I will show you in court." Because of their age, they already have reached this certain maturity already. Because of their age, they feel confident and proud of what they have become. That is why it is easy for them to say, "Do not mess with me again."
Oh,
But
okay.
those high school and college students, they do not know yet what violence really means.
Oh, yes,
They do
exactly.
not know how to recognize what are violent acts and what are not violent acts. Let's face it. They are still kids. They think that life is fair and beautiful, right?
Yes, sir.
Young girls already forgive their boyfriend when they say, "I slapped you because I was angry at home. I was affected of my problems back at home." Young girls, for example, easily forgive their boyfriends when they say, "You're already, you really love with me and you have to sex with me."
Oh, well, it usually happens. It's really prevailing here in the society, also especially in the school. So, I would like to ask, considering that it's very clear now that in the school there are different types of violence. Though what you just stressed a while ago, that most students do not realize it. They do not even know what it is. They do not recognize that these things that happen to them are actually acts of violence, acts of abuse.
Okay.
So, what do you think should the school do to address this issue?
Okay, there are things to consider. First, the school must acknowledge that there is prevailing problem in dating violence among students. We must recognize this problem. Second, the students must be educated about what dating violence is all about. The school should teach them what is physical abuse, what is emotional abuse, what is economic abuse, and what is sexual abuse. The school should teach them how to recognize this violent act. Third, the schools must assess the students. So when the schools will receive any report about dating violence committed by the students, the school must protect the welfare of the victim. And the fourth, the school must punish the offender for his action, and the abuser must be held accountable for his actions.
So, with this in mind, sir, you mentioned that it is the responsibility of the school to protect the welfare of its students. So, is there a concrete way to ensure their safety? Can the school do something in a concrete can the school do something about this?
Well, there is a law called Anti-Violence Against Women and Children. In short, that is what they call, very common to us, called VAUC. The school can have a women's desk.
Okay. So like they can assist her. The company, the people, the school can assist her.
Okay, right. Yes.
Oh, okay.
The said people can accompany or assist the students in going to the barangay or to the police to apply for a protection order.
So, for example, since we know that physical, the dating violence, in dating violence, a person is abused physically, abused emotionally, threatened financially, and exploited sexually. It is very embarrassing for her. So, I remember there are, for example, in the case of victims of rape, they would rather choose to be quiet or be silent because they don't want to expose themselves to embarrassment. So, my question is, for example, if the victim does not want the barangay or the police to be involved with their problem, so what should we do about this?
Okay. If the victim is not yet ready to expose herself, then the campus coordinator must assist her. The campus coordinator can suggest safety plan to her.
Okay.
The coordinator can tell her what to avoid and who to avoid. My point here is we must not be blind or deaf to her situation. We must educate the victim about the pros and cons. But if she still refuses to file a complaint, then we cannot blame her. Maybe she cannot bear the pressure. Maybe she is afraid. Well, it's okay, so long as we did our part to assist her.
So, by the way, sir, how can we tell if a person is in a violent relationship?
First, look the physical signs. Yes, that is true. Look the physical signs for the bruises and injuries in the body.
Okay.
Second, look for the physical signs in the person suffering from dating violence will most likely have a low self-esteem.
Oh, that's a psychological effect, sir.
Okay, psychological effect.
Uh-huh. So, what about this psychological effect? Could you please explain?
Okay. For example, before the abuse, the person used to be outgoing and active, but now she has becoming quiet and isolated.
Okay.
Before the abuse, the person used to be active in co-curricular and extracurricular activities in the schools. Now, she has gone out.
Okay. Have you heard of any reports or incidents of abuse or violence in the campus?
Yes, I have heard. In fact, one of the students had been the victim of that. It's only the case was not properly monitored by the administrator of the schools.
Okay.
Because the students stopped going to schools precisely because of the
Oh,
embarrassment.
that's very sad for the student. So the victim did not expose herself anymore.
Oh, yes.
So what she just left the school.
This-
We talk about violence, dating violence within the school premises. So are there any reports also of violence being committed outside the school premises?
Oh, yes. I have heard that for many times. Even our own barangay, on our locality, it really happens. In fact, one of our relatives to that had been a victim of that
Okay.
dating violence.
Okay.
Although it happens outside in our city, but the girl is a student all over there somewhere in Iligan, precisely. In which they have been related with her girlfriend with her boyfriend for 2 years already, and the violence happened within that period. However, she just kept on silent because she was so let's say
Scared.
not totally scared. not permitted by the parent to
Oh,
have a relationship
okay.
with the other guy.
Okay, that's why.
So, for that period of 2 years, that abuse really happens until the time that she could no longer endure in it.
Oh,
So, it tell her parent. Then it was also discovered by the mother that some injuries in her body, like for example the hematoma, the bruises, or the injuries that really existed. So, the case as of today is already there in the court of law,
okay.
and it is ongoing, and it is a very progressive case.
Well, we are very hopeful that justice will eventually prevail. Since we know that dating violence has already become one of the silent issues in society, not only in the campus, inside the school premises, but also outside the school vicinity. So it is a silent crime, in fact, because, like you said, the students don't even recognize what a violent act is by their boyfriend or by their girlfriend. So, what can you say now to our viewers out there about this issue that is really becoming prevalent, although silent at this time? What can you say, sir?
Okay. There are three things that I can say. Vigilance, education, and information. The parent and the schools should be very vigilant on this matter, since it is really existing and it is a multiple cases in the community, not only in the schools but including outside the school campus. Then the students also should be educated. It should be coordinated between the parent and the school administration, so that they will be informed regarding their right, so that they will be safeguard of any possible violence that may come at any time. And they should be informed that it is really an act of abuse, so that they will not submit themselves into an abuse.